Russ, FYI.
Oh, I gotta go.
Vienti gets prime. Regardless of what is, the child exploitation narrative is just a way to get you to comply with censorship. Everything is a double-edged sword, and apparently open P-Hub allowed abusers to get caught. Thank you, Vienticus Prime. Nuxus. Tasmania is not a part of the mainland.
No,
Islanders.
it's not.
Oh my god.
That's a eugenics lab where they test out their worst ideas. And Australia already had some terrible genetic ideas.
Thank you, Nuxus, for that information. Vienticus Prime. I'll say my religion thing again, but in a different way. Everything of Abrahamic religions comes from the Satan, Lucifer in their entirety. Prove me wrong. Thank you, Vienticus Prime.
Lucifer is not Satan. Lucifer was referred to a Babylonian king. If you want to know what a Lucifer would be, it'd be like a Hollywood star. Lucifer means a star. It never meant Satan. Some dipshit Catholic made that into that. And you still hear it today. But
Lucifer is light bringer. Translates as light bringer, right?
Venus, whatever star. A Babylonian king that thought he was going to be a big deal. I think it's in Daniel. And Daniel, oh, what happened, Lucifer? You fell. It's not Satan. Fuckwit Catholics made that because they're uncut baloney dick pagans. So there's your proof.
All right.
Well, there goes our Catholic audience.
Yep. You know it's true. That's why you like it.
Thank you, Vientius Prime, and thank you.
Buy
Kurt,
a Cybertruck and fix that dick.
All right, so we're just gonna do a quick one. We're just gonna do a quick one, and then we are gonna call it a day. So I'm Russell Dobular, sitting in for Jimmy Dore, who is performing in El Paso, Texas on Friday. So our illustrious president, this is not the first time, decided to read all the words on the teleprompter, including the stage directions.
I love it.
So Biden reads every word on the teleprompter, including the word pause, during a national trade union conference speech. Imagine what we could do next 4 years. Pause.
That's so great.
Americans are increasingly worried about Biden's mental state going into the election. According to a new AP poll, 63% of Americans are not very or not at all confident in Biden's mental capacity to serve as president. Biden is 81 years old and will be 88 by the time he leaves office if he wins in 2024.
That's more than vote. Isn't it? Isn't that more than vote in the goddamn election?
A lot. Well, that's a lot more than vote in the election.
So people don't even...
But what was it? It's about 66% around there, right, Keaton? That vote in the presidential? About that? All right, so let's take a look.
Imagine what we can do next. 4 more years. Pause. 4 more years.
Yeah.
Now I realized this,
and they just
I covered this on the show earlier. I covered this on our show in the afternoon. I think what happened there was not only did he read the word pause, but he read the word 4 more years wrong. I'm convinced that in the teleprompter he says, "Imagine what we could do next. 4 more years. Pause." My theory is that 4 more years was scripted for the audience. In other words, it was scripted in the speech.
Interesting.
Imagine what we could do next. Okay, now the audience is going to chant 4 more years, and you pause while they do that. Because when you think about it, why would he start a sentence 4 more years? It doesn't make sense. Imagine what we could do next, period. Go to the audience. 4 more years, 4 more years. So I think he read both. I don't think he was supposed to say 4 more years either. I think that was a direction to the audience, which if that theory is true, and I think it is, that means 2 things. It means, number one, he's a fucking not there. He's not paying attention to what he's reading. He's just reading the teleprompter, spaced out, and read it wrong. But it also means the audience was coached. The audience was on script. The audience knew, okay, when he says this line here, imagine what we could do next, you're supposed to chant 4 more years. And the fact that they missed their cue is probably one of the reasons why he fucked up and read 4 more years. Because they were probably supposed to come in with the 4 more years chant after he said, imagine what we could do next.
I believe the conspiracy.
You know what?
That's my theory.
You know what?
Yeah.
You sold me.
Yeah, go ahead. Show it again. Show the replay. We'll
that
see how
makes a
this
lot of
goes.
sense because that didn't seem spontaneous.
He's not supposed to go.
The way they all of a sudden broke out into 4 more years, especially because
But
it was
why would
such
he
a
say
weird
4 more
moment.
years? Why would 4 more years begin a sentence? Because if you notice, imagine what we could do next. Then he starts the sentence, 4 more years.
I think this is an exclusive. I think we have an exclusive.
Well, maybe
here.
okay. Maybe he was supposed to get a chant himself going of 4 more years.
No, I think the audience was supposed to take
they were
that
too
as an
quick on it.
invitation.
Keaton's right. They were too quick on it.
Yeah, well,
and especially a weird moment like that
where he goes,
go ahead,
where
show
the guy
the video
goes
again.
pause.
Let's see.
Just trying to steal
show
man,
one more
a
time.
man with oatmeal brain.
All right, let's see one more time to see if Keaton's right about this.
Imagine what we can do next. 4 more years. Pause. 4 more years.
I think you're right.
And they come in with the chant.
Imagine what the hell that was.
Right.
Well,
yes, we got an exclusive. I don't think anybody else covering this caught that. You heard it here first, folks.
You didn't even hear it on our show. My take on this sucks for our show because I didn't figure this out until after we did our show.
Why would he?
And then I'm listening to it back and I'm like, you know what? No, I thought he said 4 more. I thought he was supposed to start a sentence, 4 more years, and then he was supposed to pause while the audience chanted. But no, it was scripted in the event that was the audience's line.
Well, I think the smoking gun is the audience's behavior because you got a moment where a guy goes 4 more years, pause. Even if you did break out into a chant like that, there'd be like an awkward moment there, and then somebody would get it going. You wouldn't have just everybody on cue on the guy saying pause.
Start
4 more years. They were already ready to go. And then they were just like, all right, go.
Start, slow clap for yourself. Pause.
Yeah.
All right. I think that is a show.
Yeah.
Kurt, you got a show later this week. Plug it, baby.
Come to Vegas at the Wise Guys in the Art District. Come see me at Wise Guys Comedy Club. Las Vegas this weekend, Friday, Saturday.
All right. And Keaton, where can the people find you?
Do Dissidents, YouTube and Rumble. We're on tomorrow morning at 9 a.m. The show never stops.
Right,
we just take breaks.
Which is 6 a.m. for me.
Yeah.
Jesus wept.
And yeah, that's true.
All right. Keaton, I'll see you in a few short hours. I will stick around for the super chats.
All right. See you guys.
All right.
See you folks.
To Mischa.
See everyone. I don't know if I'm supposed to say guys or not, but
see yes, say guys.
Thank you. All right. See everybody later. Bye.
All right. No, I'm all good. Thank you, Chris. And that's a wrap for Chris. All right. Okay, everybody. Oh, yes, there it is. Beautiful. El Paso, Texas this weekend. There's also hey everybody, May 19th. Another live panel show. Who will hug each other from either side of the aisle and then this one. And there we go. El Paso, Texas this Friday. Seamus Warren. Is it true Australia claims a need to protect their trade routes with China from China? Reminds me of Americans arming Taiwan in case China decides to invade itself. Oh, do you know the answer to that, Russ? Is it true?
I do not, but our foreign policy there, yes, is quite a contradiction. We do not recognize Taiwan's independence as a country, which means by default we recognize China's claim, but we also claim we will defend Taiwan from China.
Mind F.
It's a real mind fuck. It's like a Zen cone.
Zen comb. I don't know what that is. Cone.
Yes. That's like a Zen poem that defies logic, and it's meant to open your mind to the truth
poem. Okay.
by the attempt to resolve the contradiction.
Yes. All right. Thank you, Seamus Warren. Sandra, please have founder Susie Dawson, handle at Susie3D, on as a guest to give a Panquake readiness update. May launch in Hong Kong. New execs and new funding. Well, good for Panquake. Thank you, Sandra. J.K. Michael, Kurt, you are giving her too much credit. I bet she doesn't even know that Musk censored the video in Australia.
Possibly.
That would be, who are we talking about?
I mean, I'm assuming the crazy woman.
Yes, that's what we're talking about. Yeah.
The one who put up a picture of herself in fatigues.
Yes.
What a fucking
Yes,
screwball.
that is her, right.
Wow.
I forgot about her for a second. Omar, make America ours again. Thank you, Omar. Wei Wu Wei. Has Yuck Yuck's Comedy Club contacted Russ for a sponsorship deal yet? His laugh sounds exactly like the name of the club. What?
No, they haven't contacted me.
No,
And every day they don't, I'm missing out on filthy lucre.
Yeah, bummer. Where's that money? Seamus Warren, Keaton's. Okay, we've got a lot of notes here. Keaton's forehead is overexposed or blown out. Spot metering the forehead can resolve the issue at the expense of the dark backdrop. Better an overexposed backdrop than an overexposed host. Okay, Seamus Warren.
Okay.
Marafuka. Government agencies have been weaponized against the people they're supposed to serve. We pay for our own oppression. Defund the Fed, claim exempt for a couple months, and let's see what happens.
Here, here.
Let's see. Thank you, Marafuka. FHL. Years ago, my cousin went with Sharpton's entourage to some high-end bar in New York, and he was yucking it up with the Republicans. But in front of the cameras outside, they were acting like bitter enemies.
Yep, it's all wrestling. It's all WWE bullshit.
FHL. The end gets pre-May. I see the mainstream media is picking up on independent journalist stories again. The satanic panic thing was gone over recently by Derek Brose in his, quote, Let the Children Speak article. Thank you, Vanticus Pre-May. I've got to read that.
Well, I mean, the guy just died, so they were gonna cover it.
Right. Steph 21, lobotomies were always horrible no matter the procedure.
Oh, yeah, sure. But one of the reasons so many of them were performed was because he made it so easy to do.
Anybody can do it.
Right, right. Anyone can do it. Be the first kid on your block.
Forensic Darling. Russell, can you comment on the CIA inclined in satanic panic?
You know, I am currently starting to get into some of this cultural Congress stuff. I'm reading a book about the 60s in Laurel Canyon. I'm educating myself on that subject. I'm not qualified to comment on that yet. I will be, I hope.
We'll come back. Ask us again. Ask again in a few months.
Ask again.
CH Shell Farm. Hey, be nicer to Kurt. Okay, yeah, we'll be nicer. Thank you. Thank you for that one. All right. You know, not that many stored up top today, so we're going to have to scroll on down. Forensic Darling again. I meant, can Russell comment on the CIA's involvement in the satanic panic? My bad.
Yeah, I mean, same answer. I need to know more about it. I can't comment yet. Soon.
Barky, another big medical grift is autism. 50 years ago, autism was rare, and the afflicted were banging their head against the wall in an institution. Now it's a fashionable euphemism for nerd.
Right. Yeah. No, everyone's neurodivergent now, and yeah, they've really encouraged. I'm very disturbed by that. They've really encouraged kids to label themselves with conditions. Yeah, that they don't have. Hey, some people do have that, but yes, you're absolutely right. I've seen a lot of kids identify themselves that way. We're just dorky. They're just nerdy, man. I mean, not everybody is, the portrait of suave and sophistication. Now that makes you neurodivergent. No, it just makes you human.
Forensic Darling, Kurt, I love you, man. Thank you for that one. Thank you for the love, Forensic Darling. We'll let Kurt know that you love him. Comes back on Friday. Justice for Keanu. Speaking of child abuse, my abducted son was rescued in the UK, but refused to return him. State Department said if he were in Russia, then they'd help. Check out my Rumble account videos exposing the UK. Ugh.
Wow.
Very, very sorry to read that. Thank you, Justice for Keanu. Rolling down, what else we got? Oh, okay, Justice for Keanu. UK seizes children from parents, sells them via forced adoptions, financially incentivized by the government. Contact me about this scandal that keeps slipping under the radar. I have the receipt. Always that's heavy. The industrial or the adoption. People have written in with their own issues, their own experiences with the adoption industry. Like it could be a beautiful story or just such a heartbreaking story.
Yep.
Yeah, forcing young mothers to sign away adoption papers. I believe that. Step 21 for adults too with all medical again, I'll try it again. For adults too with all medical procedures, there is always the issue of informed consent.
Yes, that's where I'm saying it's not that there's no there. There is definitely stuff to interrogate with adults in terms of gender medicine. I have felt when we've covered it, like you got to pick your battles. And I picked the child side of it because I feel like that side of it, there's really no room for debate as far as I'm concerned. There's no room for debate about a child's ability to consent to that treatment. So that's really where I focused. But yes, certainly there are people who have been, and some of them have written about it, have been seriously taken advantage of, who are experiencing mental illness and are then put into this pipeline of medicalization. I read a story, it's heartbreaking, of a guy who had his fucking balls cut off before he came to his senses because he was having a psychotic episode. So yes, that's definitely happening.
Ugh.
It's just that unlike with children, I don't feel like it's by definition malpractice with an adult. I think it's a case-by-case thing. Whereas with children, it's by definition.
Thank you for that one. Step 21. Sparky, my grandmother played college basketball in the early 1920s, even before Bay Didrikson. Well, that's cool. Thank you, Sparky. Scrolling on down. Oh, there's one. Hollow Cost Refuter. Ed Gain, is that right?
Ed Gein.
Ed Gein was a transgender and had a real vagina.
I mean, if what you mean are the ones that he cut off his victims, he had a real one.
Oh, he saved them?
I assume that's what he meant.
In a jar?
Texas Chainsaw Massacre and Psycho were both loosely inspired by Ed Gein.
Oh,
Ed
Gein
murdered his victims and also some elements of Buffalo Bill and Silence of the Lambs. He would murder his victims. He would make like skin lamps and things out of them. And
that guy.
Yeah.
That's he's loosely based on that the lotion character.
Yes.
Yes. Okay.
Ed Gein.
Well, sounds like a nice fella.
Yeah.
Thank you for that. It'll stick with me for the evening. Sparky. Now there's 2 generations of nerds who proudly identify as autistic, but truly autistic people don't make small talk, much less comment about being autistic on the internet. Yeah. My niece was diagnosed as autistic years ago, and not by her parents, whatever school. She's had a lot of teachers working on with her one-on-one. I would have no idea she's autistic. To me,
Hey, get this. So we all know that the mainstream news media is not reliable. How can you trust them when they've never told you the truth about Russiagate, Ukraine, COVID, lockdowns, anything? That's where our sponsor, we have a new sponsor, Ground News, comes in handy. Ground News is an app and a website. And what they do is they gather related articles from around the world in one place so you can compare coverage. So it's not, they don't generate the news, they compile the news, and then they give you the visual breakdown of the news outlets and tell you if the source has a political bias, and if it does, what's the political bias, and how reliable that the reporting is, and who owns them. So it's super helpful and transparent. Check this out. So like if you search Russia-Ukraine, search Russia-Ukraine war, and you'll see how it's covered. Here we see 111 total news sources. 18 of them are left-leaning. 9 are right-leaning, and 27 of them are centrist. The bias distribution is 50% center, and it even shows their logos along with their factuality and ownership. So this is a pretty helpful, dare I say, use an old-timey term, this is a neat website. So this is a good way to do your own research. So you get there, you see that they help you by seeing what the bias is, by who owns these news outlets, but they compiles all different kinds of sources around one news story. So it gets you access to independent and international perspectives, not just nationalist sources with the same political agenda. It helps you find the discrepancies in how certain topics are covered and shows you how corporate agendas can influence the news you read. Sounds a lot like this show. Sounds like this website does what this show does. Sounds nice. So if you want to see it for yourself, go to ground.news/JD. Ground.news/JD. Use the link below, and we're going to get you 40% off unlimited access. Go to ground.news/JD, and we're going to get you 40% off unlimited access. Think critically about the news you consume.
Isn't it swell? The memes make themselves. They found a rabbi hole, tunnels and all. There's Jews in the walls. Isn't it bliss? The rabbinical grace soiling the mattresses. Well, let me tell you. If I were Rabbi Shmuley and diddle 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 digga digga diddle diddle dum, all day long I'd diddle little bums. If I were a Shmuley man, I'd peddle all my dildos, dreidel dildos, selling dildos with my daughter and her mum. If I were a Jewish Shmuley man, I'd be digging with a dildo in my bum. I'd wear a grotesque nose and go grab some goyim right on the nipple with a pinch. A Shabbos lap dance brace for the youngest mensch.
Hey, thanks for checking out our YouTube channel. Subscribe by clicking on that button down there for more AM Joy and the rest of MSNBC. And click on any of the videos right here to watch the latest interviews and highlights. And you can get more videos from MSNBC for free every day with our newsletter. Just visit